It's probably something you've never had to think twice about. But there are still some communities in our country that don't have clean water running from their taps. At any given time, there are advisories on First Nations warning them to boil their water because it's unsafe. While there's been progress in lifting these advisories, that doesn't always solve the problem. For as long as she's been alive, Chief Emily Wheatung of Curve Lake First Nation says her community has been without this clean running water.
When you live in a place where you have reliable, clean drinking water, you put your child in the bathtub and they play around and they splash and you don't worry about it. When you live in a community that has constant water problems, you sit beside your child the entire time and make sure their face doesn't go in the water.
Curve Lake is surrounded on 3 sides by fresh water and is only a short drive away from Peterborough. Yet it's been under boil water advisories on and off for decades, including one that lasted nearly 2 years. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau promised to end long-term drinking water advisories by this March, but that deadline came and went.
There are plans in place for each community to be in a position to lift their water advisories. My job is to get it done. So for those that seek to lay blame, they should lay it on my shoulders.
Since 2015, 107 long-term advisories have been lifted. 52 such advisories remain in 33 First Nations. While the government has spent billions to build or repair water infrastructure, outdated policies have left First Nations seriously underfunded to operate and maintain their systems.
If you're only funded at a certain percentage, how can you possibly maintain an asset? Imagine not getting an increase for, over a quarter of a century.
Beyond the struggle to keep their water safe, Trudeau's promise to solve the crisis doesn't include advisories on private systems, which serve 1 in 5 households on First Nations in Ontario.
If you don't address the drinking water needs of every community member and every community, then you haven't really kind of met the goal of ending the water crisis.
Most Curve Lake residents still get their water from private wells.
If you can't afford to put a water treatment system into your home to make sure the water coming out of your well is safe to drink, then you have to constantly be planning to pick up bottled water.
Their neighbors have no such problems.
There's such a disparity in an access to one of the necessities of life. I'm happy that they have clean drinking water. I would like the same thing for my community.
Caryn Ceolin, CityNews.